showtime.
It's showtime. And here we go.
Hello and welcome into another episode of the Movie Geek Podcast. I'm your host George T, and this is a Nicole Kidman episode. She had two movies already in 2025. She also has a new show coming out, or another season of a show. I did not know it was already out because I didn't know it was a season one. But this show looks pretty interesting. Nine Perfect Strangers is the show on Hulu. First season was 2021, and now second season is coming out. So I wanted to do a quick Nicole Kidman movie review. For those of you who have seen these movies, I want to know what you think of Holland and Baby Girl. From what I've heard from people, they didn't like either one. I will go through them and see, what you guys think of my reviews. And if you've seen them, give me some feedback. If you didn't like them, tell me why you didn't like them. Or if you actually did like them, tell me what you liked about them. And then I will go through my Nicole Kidman top 5 list of movies. So let's go into the new show, obviously, Nine Perfect Strangers. It, like I said, premiered in 2021. Did not know, so I'm going to have to go back and watch it. But season 2 looks pretty interesting. Obviously, Nicole Kidman, Samari Weaving. You've got Melissa McCarthy. You have Bobby Cavalieri. You've got Michael Shannon, Regina Hall, Lena Olin. There's just a lot of people in this show, and it looks very, very interesting. So I will go back and binge watch season 1. It was only 8 episodes. It's going to be 8 episodes here of season 2, and I will give a review of both of those seasons when it is completed. So let's start with Holland. This was a Amazon Prime exclusive. Obviously starring Nicole Kidman as Nancy, Matthew McFadden as her husband, Fred, Geely Garcia Bernelli as Dave. So these are the three main characters. So basically, Nancy and Fred live in Holland, Michigan, which is looking very similar to the Holland that we're all used to in movies. They are the church-going PTA, the best couple that you could possibly think of when it comes to these type of movies. They're so idolized. They do all the right things. Man, you got the world thinking that. So Fred is a doctor of sorts. He is always on the road doing conventions, or so Nancy thinks, or Nancy is thinking actually that he is having an affair and is constantly going away for the weekends. She runs into Dave at the school that she works at and starts an affair with him. Dave doesn't really want to get involved too heavily because he wants to actually be with her. He needs her to leave Fred. She's like, well, I can't leave him, because, he could take my son, and, he's a pillar of the community, and, we need to catch him cheating in the act. I think he is cheating. So uh, they come up with this plan to try to get some evidence, and it's just wacky. Um, these guys are obviously completely amateur hour, stumbling around trying to find things, and Fred seems very aware and on top of things when it comes to this, but Dave is kind of like the secret agent kind of guy. Um, Not really, like he's trying to be for for them, and so he, you know, trails him around, and Fred just seems normal. He's not having an affair or anything like that. And, he comes home with presents from the conventions he goes to, and that's basically it. So, Nancy and Dave are still. Nancy is still kind of schizophrenic about it. She's, oh my God, no, I think he's still having an affair. Maybe you're just not doing enough, and this, that, and the other. And, I really want to be with you, Fred, and this, that, and the other. So Dave follows Fred out for another visit, another convention of sorts. So Nancy does some digging into what his little model is. So they have this model um, on the table in his den, and she's so paranoid that she's missing something, and he is having an affair, and they're just not looking in the right places, or Fred may be onto them, so he's leading them into other things. And finally, she starts doing some research on some of the places on this model, and come to find out, cross-referencing them all, they are tied to serial killer who is at large. So, what do you think she starts to think? Fred is a serial killer. Again, just a wacky, kind of crazy movie. And you're like, geez, what is this woman's problem? Like, she has the perfect husband who, is away a lot, yes, but he doesn't seem the type to cheat. He doesn't seem the type to be a mass murderer um, or a serial killer. So what is it about this woman that just doesn't understand her husband? So Dave winds up running into Fred. Fred goes in and buys some particular items from a convenience store that would indicate something not right. He buys dog food and a couple of other items that, one, they don't have a dog, and two, the other items just kind of don't go along with things like that. So Dave winds up tracking down or following Fred, and then eventually, um, seeing where he goes. And he goes to a cabin to meet a woman. Oh boy. So either one of two things is going to happen. He is cheating and Dave has his evidence, or two, he is a serial killer and Dave finds out and then probably dies. Yeah. Well, if you guessed number two, you would be correct. So this is just bizarre. Okay, so this mild-mannered guy who just seems the perfect type in this quirky way is a serial killer. He is caught red-handed by Dave, who stumbles into this house, like not even remotely caring that if he gets caught, he might get dead. So again, it's amateur hour. Dave's not a detective. He's not a guy who is going to fight. Um, but if he has to, probably for his life, he will. So he hears some commotion in the back hallway, and he kind of inadvertently opens the door. Fred turns around mid-cut as he is slicing up his victim. They start to scrum, and eventually Fred winds up on a knife and falls into the lake that is off the house. Dave comes, driving back to Nancy, saying that, Nancy's like, "Oh my God, you're okay? What happened to Fred?" And so he says to Nancy, "You won't have to worry about Fred anymore. I told him never to come back, and that he will be divorcing you and never show his face in public again." Come on, Dave. We all know that ain't the truth. But we know that you and Nancy have this little thing going on, and you want your Nancy. So Nancy kind of feels relieved. Fast forward to the Holland town parade. Fred is back. He is out for a little bit of revenge on Dave, and he winds up getting his revenge. And then Nancy runs into Fred, and they have a little drive. Um, Nancy figures out that Fred is actually a serial killer, and they have their little war, and spills out, and their son tries to help, but he doesn't help. Eventually, Nancy winds up killing Fred in the car and walks away. That is how the movie kind of ends. Weird as fuck. I'm sorry, just weird as anything. So again, you've got this woman who uh, having an affair on somewhat the perfect husband, not knowing that he was actually a serial killer, but she thought he was cheating on him. But conversely, she was going to cheat on him. My God. Um, if you like these kind of quirky um, dramas, this one is kind of for you, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would definitely give it a 1 thumbs down, not 2. It's not totally bad, but it is definitely not a recommendable movie by far. Okay, so now Baby Girl. So um, this movie was trying to be to die for, um, and just a lot more twisted. It is wild, but um, this has a lot of stuff in there that maybe a lot of people don't understand, but there are kinks like this out there, and there are a lot of people in high power places that have these probably thoughts. So you have Nicole Kidman playing Romy. She's married to Antonio Banderas' Jacob. The opening scene of this movie, they are having sex, and once they're done, she goes into um, a den, throws on some porn, and masturbates. So either she's very sexually active and he may not be, or the latter, which is going to come out later on as to why she went into the room and masturbated. So she is a 24/7 businesswoman who is literally, um, you know, just you know, workaholic, workaholic, workaholic. So maybe she has mental blocks when she's having sex with her husband. Maybe she, just um, I don't know. I mean, like, there are a lot of people who have those type of um, problems when they're just so devoted to their jobs. And she was, and she winds up having an intern, which she did not know about. He is played by Harris Dickinson. So he is obviously a young man who challenges her a little bit. And from the type of porn that she watches, she is into the domination part. And not from her side, but her being submissive to it. Her husband and her just have basically that vanilla, sex where, and this is why she was looking at porn afterwards, because she really needed something more out of her sex life. So he kind of challenges her to, open her mind up, and she finds this very, you know, attractive, and she kind of loses her mind a little bit. She starts to fantasize about, he's being able to kind of manipulate me. How do I work that in, but also be professional about it? So eventually, um, they're doing all this little stuff, and there's little innuendos here, and she's kind of becoming infatuated with it. So eventually, uh, he asks her to meet outside the office, and she does. And at first, she doesn't really know why she's doing it, even though she has an idea. He wants nothing really to do with her other than do, you know, little um, sexual kink for her. Doesn't really want a relationship, doesn't want to destroy her marriage, doesn't want to destroy her business. He just wants to be able to unlock a little bit more of her that she seemed to need from their interaction. So she's not really understanding, and the first thing he does is, they're in the room, and he kind of tells her what to do. And she's like, no, I don't really want to do that. And it's like, well, then I don't want to do anything. Then go home and that's it. Be done with this. So he tells her to get on all fours. And she's like, what? And so she's thinking that it's going to lead right into sex. And he's like, no, you're going to need to listen to me. So she doesn't really know how to understand, but at the same time, she's looking for, something, and he's going to give it to her in other ways. She doesn't understand, but then when he gets her to lay down on the floor and he pretty much finger bangs her, the kink is unleashed. She now knows that she wants to be as powerful as she is and as many people as she bosses. She now wants to be that submissive, I want to be bossed kind of thing. And they're just having these little cat and mouse kind of adventures. And she's getting pleasure out of it. He's obviously getting pleasure out of it too, because they're not just having sex. They're doing, multitude of things. And as she keeps getting off on it, she wants more of it. So then there's a scene where um, she's having a hard time with Jacob, and she's trying to balance the work life with the intern sexual thing, the stuff that's going on at home. Her two daughters are teenagers. Um, and she's trying to just balance it all, and she's kind of losing it. And the intern is like, "Do you want to lose everything? Like, you need to stop. We either need to figure out a balance, or we just need to stop totally." And she doesn't want to stop because she wants it all, but she doesn't know how to compartmentalize. So eventually, she's just having a really bad day, and the husband wants to, maybe kind of help her relax, and she loses her ever-loving mind and tells him that she has never had an orgasm with him. Whoa. If I was him, and that ever, when those words ever came out of the person I'm with, either, obviously not with my ex or Ashley, but if it were to have come out, I think I would be floored. And he was too, for a certain extent, but he also was like, I don't know, just like, okay, you're having a bad day, I'm just gonna go. And she's like, no, I really mean it, and what's up? And she's really wanting to just tear herself down. Like, it's very difficult to pinpoint what she really wants for even me as a viewer of this. Like, she wants it all, but at the same time she wants to be brought down. Like, it's just so bizarre. So they have a Christmas party at her house. The intern shows up with one of the other assistants from the office, and Romy loses her mind, and it's like, you're not to see her anymore. Wait a minute. He doesn't want anything to do with you other than this little cat and mouse game that you like. You want to be dominated. This is all that they are about. These two actually are dating. So why are you getting upset? He has told you over and over again that he does not want to bring you down. He does not want to have you leave your husband or your family for me. It's just a very bizarre situation. And for her, just not being able to compartmentalize is really difficult for me to comprehend, because you've got her so focused on her job, but then the distraction over here, but at the same time she's trying to keep the image, but at the same time she's literally trying to dissolve her entire future and everything else. Like, it's just so mind-boggling to me. So after that, um, the assistant comes in and wants to talk to her about her future. Um, she knows that Romy and her boyfriend are doing some stuff, and she doesn't want to bring her down either. She just wants to know why she hasn't been able to be promoted yet. So eventually she is promoted, and not because she didn't deserve it. It was just one of those things where Romy just kept putting it off and off, and then eventually she knew that maybe, just maybe, this assistant was going to try to bring her down. The intern tells her that he wants to leave because he doesn't want to be a part of anything anymore. Doesn't want to hurt her family. He doesn't want to hurt the business. He just wants to leave. And she's like, no, they're going to bring an investigation down on me if you decide to leave. And he's like, I'm not going to say anything. You really need to stop this. So eventually she winds up leaving her family at a house, and she winds up going to another one of their houses. Kind of lives out and just tries to focus back on who she is. Eventually she goes back to the husband, and he says, what can we do to make this work? And she asks him to kind of experiment outside of that vanilla sex. And that's how the movie ends. Um, so this movie I will give an even. Okay, because it's worth a watch. And again, if you're somebody who understands the kink, understands, even if you have that kink and don't want people to know or whatever, it is, it's on the surface. The only problem I really have with this movie is because she literally couldn't compartmentalize the whole thing, and just the self destruction that she was looking for in this whole thing, but it never happened. And then eventually she, winds up being, you know, back with her family and being happy. And if I was the husband, I have no idea why I would try to take her back after finding out that she had this kink and she was doing this stuff. Like, wow. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's hard. So I don't really, um, I don't hate the movie, but I don't like it either. So it's kind of one of those, like, watch it. It's not for everyone, obviously. And if you have seen it, I want to know what you think. And if you haven't seen it yet, maybe it is not a movie for you after listening to this review. So, um, so after this, my initial thought was, um, is Nicole Kidman needing to blink twice for help? Two completely different movies with two completely different women and two completely different sets of affairs. um, like, Nicole, are you okay? Is there something that you want to talk about? It's just, I don't know. It just was a weird kind of two movies to watch together, and just so crazy. All right. Well, that leads me to my Nicole Kidman top five. We have Malice, one of her earlier films. Dead Calm, another early one of her films. Far and Away with her ex Tom Cruise. Um, Practical Magic. Everybody loves that movie. And finally, To Die For, the movie about her being, um, you know, a teacher with a student. This all came about because of the Mary Kay Letourneau back in the day, sleeping and having an affair with a high school student who wound up getting her pregnant. So, um, and back then, and to a certain extent, Nicole Kidman is still a beautiful woman. I know she's had some surgery done, probably, but back in the day, Nicole Kidman, yeah, mm, and To Die For. So I don't know if these two movies she was trying to get back to that To Die For recipe, where she was the um, ambitious, hot woman that or woman who was had seemed to have it all kind of thing, and then kind of ruined it with being brought down again. I don't know. It's just so these two movies are kind of very on edge for me. But want to know what you think, and if you guys have a Nicole Kidman movie that you actually thought maybe make your top five, let me know. But those are my top five. I know she's done some other movies that have been good too. You can't put them all in a top five. Just saying. All right, so look out for more stuff coming up soon. I've got reviews on a couple more movies. Obviously, I'll have one for Mission Impossible that I will see this weekend, and my Comic Con one is coming up very soon. It's coming along very slowly, but it will be up. So, that is all, and I will see you all at the movies.
You like that, baby? Let him know where I came from, yeah!
See you next time. Bye.
Waiting for you. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Hasta la vista, baby.
That's all, folks.